Hello and welcome back to Jacqueline Marie's Art. So in this video, I wanted to talk about why women should seek God's guidance if they want to marry. So guys, can I just ask you to like, subscribe, share if you're enjoying the content? It would really mean a lot to me. Thank you so much. Okay, so let's get into this. Ladies, if you are thinking about marrying, and I'm gonna single out again black women. I'm particularly singling out, black women because marriage is not a lot of black women are not married. So but this video is for anybody that needs this information. But I'm just singling out a group that, marriage is not really at the forefront like it should be. So, if you guys are thinking about getting married, or you're with a man that you want to marry, or you're looking to date, or you are dating, I suggest that you seek God's guidance in this particular issue because it is a highly spiritual issue, and we need the spirit that created marriage for assistance in this issue. So, black women in particularly, if you are planning to get married, you want to get married, you've been hoping to get married, take this issue to the Lord. Explain to him, what you are looking for, what you need, and a timing where you'd want to get married. Ask for his help and his guidance. Why am I saying this? Okay, because a lot of people, when they date, they date incorrectly. What's incorrect dating? Having sex with people we are not married. That is incorrect dating. It is never the right thing to do. I know it's the normalized thing to do. It's the popular thing to do. It's the thing everyone does. But it's the incorrect way to date. Why is sleeping with somebody you're dating the incorrect way to date? Well, if the person is not right for you, you could end up being stuck with this person for a very long time, longer than they're supposed to be in your life. Why is that? Because sex is a bonding tool. It glues you together with people you are not supposed to be glued together with. Instead of letting the person dating and letting the person go. Look, don't get me wrong, dating and not having sex with somebody is also hard to let somebody go, because you could come to love somebody, that you've dated and never had sex with, that you've never even touched in any way, in any sexual way, and you could still fall in love with them. That's also difficult to let a person go at that stage. It's not easy at pretty much any stage, but it becomes super difficult once you introduce sex into the equation. A whole different chapter is opened up, and a thicker layer is added on to the situation, right? So it becomes so sticky. It becomes like a sticky mess. This person is no good for you. You're no good for each other per se. You're abusive towards each other. You can't talk without fighting. You're always yelling and screaming at each other. Unfortunately, you disrespect each other. I'm just making, scenarios as we go along. This person should have been let go. But since you have decided to sleep with this person, you can't let them go, so that you could find the correct person. And hey, you could stay in a relationship like this for years. Some women, unfortunately, I'm sure other races have experienced this too, but some black women have ended up in these situations for like 20 years with a guy. They might not treat each other as badly as I'm describing here in this scenario, but they just live together and they're not married. They have kids. They're doing the whole marriage thing. They probably buy property together, have a car in each other's name or whatever, but no marriage in sight. For whatever reason, they can't get married. So this situation of sex before marriage can also block you from marriage. So this is why you don't want to date incorrectly, all right? When you bring God into the equation, automatically God is going to steer you away from sex out of marriage, because this is his commandment. particularly it says to flee fornication, because every sin that you commit is outside of your body, but this particular sin is an assault against yourself. How is it assaulting yourself when you have sex out of marriage? Well, a lot of sex out of marriage relationships don't last. They are full of chaos and confusion and disrespect and ghosting and, heartaches. It breaks the heart, it wounds the soul. So this kind of setup is an assault on your soul, your heart, your mind, your body, your spirit. This is a spiritual issue, highly spiritual. And you are bruised and wounded behind it, and it could turn you bitter and sour towards the opposite sex. This goes for men and women. A lot of men have sex with women they could care less about, but they turn into these cold-hearted people that don't like women. They sleep with them, but they don't like them. You understand? So this is how it haunts men, even though men are better at sleeping with the opposite sex without getting tangled up emotionally. They are destroyed in another way that people are not aware of, that they turn cold and heartless towards the opposite sex. You understand? So that's the issue here. So you want to avoid this kind of setup. Seek the face of the Lord. He's going to steer you away from the sex out of marriage. I know we're used to having sex out of marriage. It's so normalized that it is like men can't even imagine a world without sex out of marriage. Women can't even imagine. Nobody can imagine a world without sex out of marriage. But this has to stop, because it is blocking a lot of women from getting married. It is robbing a lot of Black women of the full benefits package of a relationships. What are the full benefits package of a relationship? You get your own husband, your own man, right? You get financial security. Whatever the man has belongs to you. You get somebody that you could love and cherish each other. You get somebody to grow old with. You get to have children in the correct environment who are sane and not mentally disturbed. You are not mentally disturbed. The man you're with is not mentally disturbed, because this sort of situation just mentally disturbs everyone. The man is cold and heartless towards you, and you are an emotional wreck, and you hate men, and they hate women, and the children also end up in the same, destructive cycle. So you seek the Lord. He will guide you away from fornication. This is what this is. He will tell you to date men. You could date more than one guy, and you could get to see, if you guys are compatible. You get to know each other. That special thing is for the wedding night. Everybody opens up this package way too soon, prematurely. The Lord will guide you his way, which is the way we don't want to go, but it's the way we need to go, because humans are naturally rebellious against God's way. We like to do things our way, which only leads us to the avenues of broken dreams and broken hearts. So the Lord will guide you away from fornication. He will guide you away from going outside half naked. If any woman dressing half naked, even though it looks absolutely beautiful, you guys look amazing, but it's giving you the negative reaction. You understand? It's not leading you to what you guys really want. What you guys really want in actuality is your own man, your own husbands. Really, if deep down, a lot of women do want to get married. A lot of women have even given up on marriage. You guys want to get married. You want to be in stable relationship with guys that you love and cherish. But this sex out of marriage is preventing you. It's actually hindering you guys from getting that. It is actually giving you the opposite result, where you can't get your own husband. You could barely even get your own boyfriend. You could barely even get a guy to say he's in a relationship with you, and you guys are all great looking, all across the board, all sorts of ladies from any race, great looking, you dressing nice, you look amazing, but you cannot get these men to take you seriously. because you are giving them everything, all these valuable things, way before its correct time. The sex is for your husband. Those sexy, alluring dressing is for your husband to entice that man. God will not want you out here enticing all the men of the world with your, the woman's body is extraordinarily seductive. He will not want you out here, seducing men constantly with your body and leading into fornication at the end. You understand? You got to stop giving up your body. You got to stop going off half naked on these dates. I've noticed when a lot of men marry, all this sexy, big boobs, big booty, it's all beautiful. I think it's gorgeous. The woman's body is amazing, but a lot of men just marry average, everyday women. I don't see any of that stuff. I'm not saying it's not happening, but when men generally marry, it's just average, everyday women. That's what I've been observing, when I see with their wives. There's really nothing to stare at. So you guys shouldn't feel, that you have to do this, to get the guy's attention, because you don't need to. It's just that men have become conditioned in this way through our actions, to not wait for sex. Can they wait? Yes. If you all stop having sex with them, they will follow suit and marry you. But once you keep giving up the thing God said to give them in marriage, this will lead them away from marrying you. And this is what God doesn't want you all going through life, unmarried, bitter, miserable, heartbroken, and men turning dark and cold, because this is how it affects them, because this is a spiritual issue and nobody goes unscathed, outside of this thing. So that's why ladies, especially black women, start seeking the face of God. When you want to get married, start seeking to do it His way. You will not regret it. You will be better off in, the long run. There's more to this issue that I need to do in a separate video on a separate topic that I don't want to touch on right here, but I will touch on it because the Lord put it in my heart that I must touch on it. So try going this route. All right. And, the more sex partners that you have, the more difficult it's going to be with your husband in the correct way. And the more sex partner your husband has, including you, the more difficult it could be for him to be with you in the correct way. So for men and women, each sex partner that we have robs our significant other of a tender part of us that we should have saved for them. You understand? So nobody wins in this. All right. So there's a Bible verse I probably should put in here. It says the thief has come to kill, steal, and destroy. When you do it this way, you're doing it the thief's way, and he's killing and destroying your hopes and dreams of having a happy marriage, your hopes and dreams of even getting married, a man's hopes and dream of having, a happy marriage, because in the end, everyone wants this. But because we're having so much sex before we get to this point, we're all soured by the time we're supposed to marry, that we're just turned off. The switch from marriage is just turned off from us. And I think that's what has happened in the black community, through the introduction of a lot of salacious music and music videos. We've just been led astray away from something that's really good for us, really beneficial for us and our children. We come to just turn off from it. We're just turned off. We just see it as a scourge. So see how the thief has came in, kill, stole, and destroy, from us. Our minds are so turned away from this good thing, but the word says that the Lord Jesus Christ, the Son of God, has come that you will have life and have it more abundantly. So this is why, ladies, I'm encouraging you to seek the face of the Lord when you want to get married. Ask God about this man you want to marry. Don't sleep with the guy. Don't sleep with any man again. If you can help yourself, try. Ask God to help you to stop fornicating, stop having sex out of marriage, so you will have a chance at marriage, and a happy one. Because contrary to what the thief says, who is Satan, the best sex is had in marriage by men and women. But we can't get to that stage because we're having so many sexual partners before we actually get married. That by the time we are supposed to marry, we don't want marriage. Or if we do marry, the marriage is soured. We can't be satisfied in that marriage. And that's what the thief wants for you. For you to not be able to get married. So you keep having kids out of wedlock who are just train wrecks. You're a train wreck mentally, emotionally, because you gave up your body to so many men that you're so emotionally bruised and scarred that you get with a husband and you'll just terrorize him, just take out all your anger and frustration from all these spirits that are in you. They'll be fighting your husband. So you don't want this anymore. Bring your marriage plans to the Lord and he will guide you, lead you down his path, his way, which is for your best benefit, because his word also says again that he knows the plans that he has towards you, plans to give you a future and a hope, plans that are good, plans to prosper you, give you a future and a hope. All right. So that's my best advice on this issue, ladies, especially Black ladies. Start seeking the face of the Lord about marriage, because you need marriage. You need husbands. And it has become so difficult due to the sex issue that you need God's hands over your life to guide you into marriage. It's become that difficult. The thief has a strong foothold in the Black community in preventing marriages, and marriage is needed more than ever. All right. So that's all I have to say for today. I will talk to you guys later. Please subscribe, share, and like, and have a good day. Take care. Bye.